You're listening to Hornier Than Thou with Gloria Perez and adult film star Max Magnum, as we teach you about sex, the LGBT community, and have candid conversations about how our conservative upbringings affected our sex-positive outlooks in adulthood.
Do you have any boogers?
We got that on record. I love it. Hey guys, welcome back to Hornier Than Thou. I am your host, Max Magnum, and this is my co-host,
Gloria Perez.
We're so happy you guys decided to stop in again to listen. This episode is actually called Whoresman of the Apocalypse. We're going to be talking about dating, nightlife, circuit parties, all the good stuff. But before we do that, I just want to check in. How has your new year been?
Well, first of all, Happy New Year, everyone. 2023. At the time of recording, the new year has just started. My year has been good. So I am off to a dry January. I know a lot of people are...
I can't do that, but kudos to you.
So definitely no support. But it's been good. I mean, it's only been a week. I have done alcohol cleanses before.
Yeah.
Really, I shouldn't be even tooting my own horn, to be honest, because the most I've gone has been 30 days. I think I stretched it out to 34 days. But hey, dry January, it's a thing.
I mean, how are you feeling? Is it better? Like, do you feel better?
I definitely feel better. So the last time I drank was 7 days ago, a week, my 1 week mark.
Nice.
But
Congrats.
I love not feeling hungover. I think that's the biggest thing that you still, the first thing that you feel.
I had like the worst fucking hangover this last week, actually. I went out, I swear to God I was drugged. There was a lot that happened that night. I dropped my phone in a urinal full of pee, so that was an experience trying to clean that in a bar.
Classy.
Yeah, but what was I saying? Oh, it's all the drinking. I was really, really hungover, and I swear to God, I felt like I was drugged. Like I was disoriented the next day. I was really, really nauseous. I had probably the worst headache I've ever had in my life. Like,
and
it
I
was
think you only drank
headache.
beer, right?
Well, okay, maybe it's because I'm mixed.
Maybe
I think about it. Wait, I had like...
There we go.
Okay, so I had... I started out with 2 shots of vodka, and then I had a couple of drinks like White Claws or whatever, and then I went to the bar and I had a couple vodka sodas, and then I ended on beer for the rest of the night. So maybe it had to do with mixing, but that's not different than like what I normally do. So that's why I was kind of like confused.
So what kind of drinker are you? Are you just a weekend drinker? How many... Well, go ahead.
I'm like...
Before I bombard you with questions.
No, I'm like... I would say I probably drink socially like once every 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
It seems to happen in spurts, though. You know, like you're on vacation and you're drinking back to back. Or, you know, you're out of town just visiting friends. And then it's like a heavy period of drinking. But on the average week, if I wasn't, you know, like with friends or anything like that, I'm not the kind of person that drinks by themselves. I don't like wine. Well, I like wine. I think I'm intolerant to it. I get like, I don't know, it makes my chest hurt. So I think like that's why a lot of people drink is like a glass of wine at night. Mm-hmm. If anything, for me, it's like a beer here or there to decompress after a long day. But what about you?
So the last couple of years for me, I've definitely just been a weekend drinker. The occasional wine in the evening after you come home from work. Mm-hmm. However, sometimes that glass of wine can turn into a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And isn't it funny how, well, I don't know how you guys perceive this, but in the gay community, but it's so funny to me that, you know, wine doesn't have that as much as a negative connotation as like
other types of alcohol. Yeah, that's true. Like if you were to like come home and have like a shot every night,
then
people would be like, "You're an alcoholic."
But wine, it's like classy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And they say red wine is like good for heart health and stuff like that too. And I get it. You know, to me, it's like the same as like if you were to have like a seltzer every night, or I think it's pretty equivalent to beer. I don't think of like if someone came home and cracked open a beer or two every night, anyone would bat an eye. Same thing as like having like a glass of wine. I think it's the difference in like levels. Like you only go for the hard stuff when you're like in party mode typically. Mm-hmm. So if you were having like it maybe like happy hour cocktail is fine. It's just like not straight from the bottle, you guys. Not straight from the bottle.
Not a good look.
Yeah.
Also,
but speaking of,
well, I was just gonna say I have a terrible habit of mixing, and I know that I shouldn't. I freaking know I shouldn't, but I do it anyway. You know, once you're like, hey, you're raging, you're like, you're in the moment, and you're just kind of like, okay, people say shots, and you're not even thinking about. Oh,
I have been to Mexico with you. I know you can get down with the best of them. I want to tell these stories, but I feel like honestly, I don't even remember. It was so long ago.
In
due time. But real quick, I just want to introduce, since we're doing you're doing the dry January. I definitely am not. But in solidarity, we're gonna start doing some non-alcoholic drink tests on the podcast. So I have, and I've never had this before. It's like an aloe vera infused drink. It's like Fuji apple, pear, aloe vera. And then which one do you have?
That sounds super healthy. I am doing Olipop, which I have heard of this brand before. I've seen it on the shelves. Definitely never tried it. This is my first time. This is the tropical punch, and what I love is that it has prebiotics. Oh wait, I am not reading that.
Is that probiotics?
No, that's
like there was a little dust.
There's a little dust. Does this even purchased by people? No, I'm just kidding. What does that say?
Prebiotics.
No.
Yes. I don't know how that's different than probiotics.
Yeah, what
is the difference? Because to me, they both mean like preemptive, like pre or proactive, or I don't really know.
I wonder what the difference is.
But there was a flavor at the store. I didn't end up getting it for you. It was root beer. And the can was kind of fucked up. So I was like, I don't know. This looks like someone put it back after dropping it on the ground.
They returned it.
So I got that one. But I wanted to taste the root beer one.
I wonder if they dropped it in a urinal, too.
Okay. I'll go first. Urinal.
Okay.
Right,
I'm going to pour it. Well, first, let me drink from the can. Let's do it the way it should be done. Sparkling tonic. Here we go.
Interesting. This is good. Mine has like a little bit of a bitter aftertaste. If you guys remember, I'm drinking, it's the aloe brand, crisp aloe vera, Fuji apple, and pear, and they have different flavors of it. It's kind of synonymous to drinking like, I don't know how to explain it, kind of like watered down apple juice. It's got that same like flavor to it. I guess it's because it's got the apple in it, but it's just a little bit more bitter. It's a little bit more earthy tasting, but it's good. I would drink it for sure, especially if it's healthy for you, but you never really know.
Let me get a quick swig of that.
You want to try it? Let me try yours too. Is yours good?
Okay, I love mine. Love that it's seltzery, bubbly. Definitely.
Oh, cool.
I love that. I could have that with dinner instead of pop. By the way, who says pop and who says soda? I think it depends on the side of the country, right?
Yeah, I think Midwest. Like they say bag out there. Bag and pop. Yours is good. By the way, Gloria's once again is Olipop. And this is the tropical punch flavor, and it's a pretty good alternative to soda, I would say.
I think so. It's sweet.
Yeah.
It has a kick to it, and it's only 35 calories, y'all.
What would you rate yours out of 10?
I honestly think I would rate this a 9.
A 9? Okay, cool.
Like, I think I'm going to go and get a 6-pack for my week.
I would say I would rate mine. It's a little bit more syrupy than I like. Like when I want to taste, when I want to taste a healthy drink, I want to taste something that's like, whenever I taste that syrup, it makes me feel like it's not that healthy, you know what I mean? But I would give mine I would probably give mine like a 6 out of 10. 6?
Okay, I think that's fair. Because it does have that little syrupy kind of, yeah.
All right, well, getting on to the topic, I guess.
Speaking of drinking,
Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, we're going to be talking about nightlife, going out. So tell me for you, now I know it's been a while since you've been back in college, but do you feel like you go out now more than when you were in college? Or do you feel like it's changed at all as you've gotten a little bit older?
I think it's definitely morphed. Like, I still go out, but I do different things. So for those of you who don't know, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, I'm in my 30s. I'm 34. Obviously, when I was younger and I was in college, my roommates and I were out drinking every single week. We would start on Wednesday and literally party till Saturday. But now that I'm in my 30s, it's different. The vibe is different. I'm more of a speakeasy girl.
You love your speakeasies.
I love speakeasies. Oh my God. And it's perfect because you can have a conversation with people. You have the dim lights. You have chairs.
Oh, I just got a pear in my mouth, I think. You know what that was? Oh, it's got fruit floating at the bottom. I don't know how I feel about that. I just like sucked up. I thought it was boba. I was like, "What's going on?" Okay, sorry.
It's like an insect that just like
I didn't know.
fell in there.
What were you saying though?
But no, I'm more of a speakeasy girl now, and I'm more into a place that serves like good food paired with like really good cocktail, like craft cocktails. That's my jam right now. No more of the well drinks where you can get a special for bottom shelf liquor. That's college days for sure. Now I want the nice, expensive, crafty cocktail that the bartender had to like go and pull the mint out from the backyard and crush it in front of me. That's what I want.
Well, because we're actually in Phoenix right now, if you haven't gone, this isn't a sponsored ad. None of this has been. We're just, we're not fancy enough to be sponsored yet. But
not yet.
There's a place called The Deuce in downtown Phoenix, and it's kind of like this old warehouse-looking vibe. They have like a boxing ring. They do burlesque shows. They have a bunch of games. They do live bands and music, and they're really, really famous for, honestly, their food and their drinks. But all of their drinks, they have like a strawberry shortcake one. And they literally, like, muddle the strawberries. They always muddle the mint. Like, stuff like that. Like, they're really, really good. They're kind of on the pricier side, I guess, depending on where you live. But I definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't yet.
It's really cool because it has, like, the cornhole. And it has all those, little interactive stations.
The giant, like, Connect Four.
Yeah.
That thing.
I remember that.
That's cool. Yeah.
See, for me, the speakeasy, it's more than just, like, the vibe. It's also... Most speakeasies, if they're doing it right, they have a theme, and I love that. Mm-hmm. Like here in Arizona, there's one in Gilbert called the White Rabbit, and it's Alice in Wonderland theme. And you go, you need to have a password, which is really easy to get the password. You just sign up for like their newsletter online, but it makes it exclusive, and I think that's what it is. It's the feeling of exclusivity. You can say the password, and then they. Usually speakeasies, at least
they like push you down a rabbit hole.
you go downstairs. There's no cell phone signal, so good luck if somebody kidnaps you. And then it's really cool because this particular one has you're walking through this hallway, and it has all these like little bottles from like Alice when she, the little potion that said drink me or whatever.
It was like to get bigger or smaller.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then the bookshelf swivels and you go in. And I've been to speakeasies in other countries, and I just love seeing truly how creative people can get. I mean, it's a theme. You're there for the experience. The cocktails are good, but it's more of the experience.
We haven't done this together yet. I really want to. We should. This, if they didn't have like a slide going down, I feel like that's a missed opportunity. Like down the rabbit hole, it should be a slide that takes you down.
One. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But once you're in there, it turns into like this Roaring 20s type of vibe.
Okay.
It's super
so cool. Is it still at that point? Is it still kind of like Alice in Wonderland themed inside or no?
It's more of a Roaring 20s vibe.
Gotcha.
It's more of like the White Rabbit is hosting you, and this is like his vibe, Yeah. It's so funny because I was telling somebody about this speakeasy the other day, and they were like, I think it's like I thought it was like a swingers club. And I was like, I don't think so. He was like, he's like, I got the vibe that it was a swingers club. I'm like, maybe it's a meeting point for swingers. But
have you ever done that before? Okay, I know the answer is no to the swingers club, but like, have you heard of any, or do you know of any swingers clubs, or have you ever been invited to them before, anything like that? Because I've always found that interesting. Like in the gay community, obviously, like we don't really need that. It's not this like taboo thing, right, to be like sexual. So that being said, there's plenty of places for us to go do that, and it's just kind of our regular like. I don't know, not vernacular, but for lack of a better word, it's like kind of our regular practice. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you're a swinger as a straight person, you have this whole like, there's this air of taboo about it. And so they need like a meeting place. And I don't know, I've always found that really, really interesting.
I think you hit it right on. I think for straight people, it is more of a taboo thing. Mm-hmm. And so, so there is, I'm sure there's specific like swingers clubs out here, but I've never been to one. I don't know any of them, but there is one place in the area of Ahwatukee. If you're not from here, you won't know, but it's just basically like a nice fancy part of Phoenix. Mm-hmm. a suburb, and it's called Va Bene or Va Ben. It's an Italian restaurant, really good food. And at night they have live music, and all the older people, I'm gonna say 40 plus, like 40 years plus, they go there and they go for the live music. But everyone that I've been to with like to that place with like friends or like anybody, like the guy that I used to date like years ago, we used to go there all the time because it was just like a cool local spot, and you knew you were going to get a good deal on drinks and live music. And then we started getting hit on separately, like randomly. And we were like, what? Like people had tried to take us home, like older couples. And that's when we started getting the vibe of like, oh, people come here to attempt to swing. I don't know.
I mean, there's places that are like exclusively for that, as opposed to, you know, like places restaurant. That. Yeah. All right, y'all. We will be back after this break.
Hey everyone, so we want to give a huge shout out and a recommendation to Freddie Collier Photography. He is in the Chicago area. He is a professional photographer who specializes in beauty, fashion, and product photography. We worked with him for our first photo shoot, and he was incredibly patient, super easy to work with, very professional. And if you're anything like me, where you're doing outfit changes in a time constraint, I was super anxious, and he just his calm demeanor just kind of kept us rolling. And yeah, totally recommend him. Please look him up. FreddieCollier.com is his website, and that is FreddieCollier.
All right, we are back. Before the break, we were talking a lot about like speakeasies and swinger clubs / restaurants. Figured we'd talk a little bit more about like one night stands, or like, I don't know, kind of what your vibe is on like a night out.
Well, I have a question because I've been to gay clubs, obviously. And they're fun, obviously, the music, everything, but
they're the best.
Yes, they are. And as a straight woman, you never have to worry about getting hit on, disrespected, whatever. They love you, actually. Okay, question though, because I've heard this term before, but I don't know exactly what it means or what it entails, and I'm so curious. Circuit parties.
Okay. So I don't have that much experience with circuit parties. I don't go often. I've been to a lot of circuit party-esque things. My first time going to a circuit party was actually an accident. It was called the Purple Party. Happens in Dallas. And it was actually at the bar. It happens at the club, called S4 or Station 4. Or at least that's where it happened that year. And that's where I just celebrated New Year's, actually, with my buddy out there. Which it wasn't a circuit party night. You did have like a cover to get in. Whatever, I digress. So, that I stumbled upon that on accident because I went out with my friend Sarah and her sister and one of her friends, and we just wanted to go out that night, like in Dallas. And I was like, well, let's go to a gay bar. So they're like, okay, that sounds fun, just because like what you said, like you don't get hit on and whatever. Yeah. And so we all get ready and we go out and we get to the door and they're like, it's like a $50 cover to get in, and we were like, what the hell? So
are they found usually out it was expensive? Or are they pricey?
Usually there's like, you can buy for circuit parties, you can buy tickets like early bird tickets, and usually you can get tickets online beforehand, and then like certain ones sell out, and there's like,
so they're like events,
but they take places at larger nightclubs or whatever, because usually, you know, thousands of people go. And so that was the first experience I had. I wasn't expecting it. Like I walked in and everybody's like shirtless and wearing harnesses and stuff. So
you dress up sexual, like in whatever, like,
yeah,
you know,
most guys the attire is like either shirtless and like booty shorts, or like shirtless and like a harness on, you know, and shorts, like that's sneakers. That's kind of the vibe. Sometimes
you see people walking around in jock straps and stuff like that?
Yeah. Okay, and there are
vibe check, got it.
And there are like themes to some of them.
Okay.
Some of them happen the same place like every year. You know, some of them are kind of like rotating, or they go through like different cities and stuff like that. Now there's a difference between a circuit party and like a underground like warehouse party. So I've been to those more often. Those are like, there's one called Aspenhof in in LA. And basically, in order to go to this one, it's not posted online. You don't buy address, or you don't buy tickets. I'm sorry, beforehand, and you don't have the address. They actually release the address like 2 hours before it actually happens.
And who's they? Like, how do you even
get
this address? Like,
I don't know.
But like, if one wanted to find a place, you know what I mean? Like, how?
Well,
odds
are if
do you point them into?
I think what the point is to kind of deter locals, or I think honestly, which is another issue in the gay community, is to kind of like cast out certain types of people, because the idea is that if only the people that you know are telling you about it and it's happening, you're gonna bring the people in your circle, if that makes sense, your clique. So it's kind of like a little bit cliquey, I think. But I also think if you're a local. Expand. Yeah, but I think if you're a local, you know, like, a lot more about this kind of stuff. Like, you'll know, oh, Aspenhof happens every weekend or every 2 weekends. Now, the location will change, though. So they'll release the address, like, 2 hours beforehand. I feel like circuit parties and warehouse parties are the same thing. The people that go often will tell you, like, apparently, like, the music's different. Also, no circuit party I've ever been to has, like, what's, like, a dark room. They had that at the underground warehouse parties I went to, though.
Okay.
Do you know what a dark room is?
No, I don't.
Take a guess at what a dark room is.
I'm going to assume, and I'm going on a limb here. Truly, I am. A dark room is a room you walk into, and it's dark, and there's just all kinds of naked people, and you can just mess around with them and touch them and do whatever you want to them.
That is correct. And
no way!
It's kind of like no holds barred in the dark rooms, and that made me laugh because like a dark room is dark.
It's a dark room.
Yeah, but no, that is what it is. Actually,
I was setting the scene, okay?
What's funny is all the gay bars I went to in Europe, they all have dark rooms for the most part. At least like when I was in Berlin, every bar I went to had one, so that was like a normal thing there in Berlin. Which, by the way, if you haven't gone out. Or if you're looking for new places, if you're traveling to Europe, Berlin has a lot of amazing, very sexual, because Berlin's like, at least like the sex capital of the world, or the gay sex capital of the world.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so it's pretty, some of the places I went, they have this like very seedy vibe, but I love it. I think it's awesome. It's so fun. But what was I even saying?
Well, question. So do these parties usually last all night into the wee hours of the morning?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
so usually there's that, and then there's afters, and then sometimes there's afters after. So the typical night, if you want to go to a circuit party, you're probably going to get together with your group of friends. You're going to go to a pregame or host a pregame, which is typical, same pregame as like you would before going on night out if you're straight or whatever. After that, usually the circuit party you'll probably get to around like 11, sometime between like 10 and midnight, and usually you'll do that until about 2:30 to 3. Now, if it's a big usually, especially on like big holiday weekends and stuff like Halloween, there will be like the circuit party, but then there will be like the after party. And so the after party is usually at a different location, and it's a whole nother party. So then at like 3 a.m. you're rolling out of the circuit party and you're going to the after party, and you pay a ticket in advance for that as well. And then you're typically there to like 6 or 7. And then, as you know, a lot of people are using drugs, so they're like on uppers and they're not tired yet. So someone might be hosting like an afters at their house. So then you would leave that after party, and then you would go to someone's house, and that's normally where a lot of the sex happens too. So it's kind of like, you know, that Lady Gaga thing that's like club, another club, no sleep, taxi, plane. That's literally what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Oh my God,
that's so funny.
So
it's kind of like a one night stand, but you take not just one person, but like a lot of people home.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the way to look at it. What about you though? I'm curious, like, what is your craziest night out that you've ever had?
I think for me, the craziest, just in the sense of something different that I had never done before, it was when I was traveling abroad. I was in Portugal, and I went to this club that Andy Warhol used to party at. It's called the Kremlin, and it's in Lisbon, the capital. And it was just so fun because I hadn't clubbed in Europe up until that stop. I was like in this solo trip, and Portugal was one of my stops, and I had partied, but like not, you know what I mean? I had been drinking or whatever, but not like partied. And this was an incredible club. I mean, the music was insane. The sound was insane. Obviously recreational drugs were all over the place. They were flowing. And they party hard. I mean, they partied. I think
Europeans are fucking wild, dude. Like, they literally, on average, don't get home on a like night out till like 6 or 7 a.m.
Oh my gosh, we didn't leave the club till 6 in the morning, and they were talking about an after party, and I was like, it's 6:30 a.m. Like, what?
So this actually reminds me, you're gonna love this. And there's a club. It's known as being like the most like exclusive party crazy club ever. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Berghain, and it's in Germany. I think it's in Berlin or like near Berlin. It's called Berghain, and people literally go in. So just to give you an idea of the exclusivity real quick, there is a bouncer that if you look at the Berghain's like Wikipedia page, the bouncer's name is literally listed because this bouncer has worked there for, I don't know, 30, 40 years or whatever.
Cool. I love stuff like
and
that.
apparently he only lets in like 30% of people. So I remember hearing about this from a barber that I was...
Let me write it down. I need to go here.
I remember hearing about this from my barber in Berlin. And so he's cutting my hair and he was like, oh, I'm going to make you look so good. Like, he was like, you're going to be able to get into Berghain. So he gave me like a pretty dope fade, honestly. And so my plan was to go, but I was on a study abroad trip, and my friends that I was there with were like, we want to do karaoke. So I was like, fuck it. So I go do karaoke funny. Or I'll look like an ass. But I was planning on going, and they honestly turn away like big groups of Americans oftentimes.
No Americans.
Because they're just so loud, and it's very obvious when you're a tourist. So like you need to learn some phrases if you have a hope of getting into the club, and learn some phrases in like German and stuff like that. But more than that, these people go in on Friday night and don't come out until Monday morning.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious. Isn't that wild?
Do they have like, beds in there?
Friday night to Monday morning, anything goes. It's just like insane. People just go.
Did you get in?
No, I didn't end up going because I went out to karaoke with my friends. But I wanted to go so bad. It was actually like an old warehouse. I'll have to show you pictures of it. It's pretty insane. Oh my God. Isn't that cool though?
Now I want to go just to see like, what do you do there for 48 hours? Like
dance, drink, probably do a lot of drugs.
Do they bring you breakfast in bed?
I know that you can like have sex there too, and just like you can. That's how I guess a lot of the clubs like that are in like Berlin. Like here in America, if you're listening, if you're one of our audience members who doesn't live in America, it's not that we don't have fun stuff to do, but I would say that like a lot of bars are really strict on like sometimes they're open till 4, but like drinking in certain states cuts off at 2 a.m.
Oh, definitely.
And then they'll go around, they'll collect the cups, and like there is some stuff to do.
They literally will
hours.
Take the cup out of your hand.
Yeah, but it's not as like crazy party centric as it is for sure.
Unless you're in Vegas, that's different. But
it's probably because things are so spread out here, like with the driving risks and stuff. You know, if you think about it, like how often are you like taking a car after the bar in Europe? They've been able to like
public transportation.
A lot of things are walking distance. True. Like it's probably like they don't have that big of a worry about driving.
And I used to work. I walked everywhere in Europe.
Yeah,
I lost weight even though I was eating more.
Yeah,
but yeah. Anyway, okay. Question. What is the most wild, and not necessarily like in terms of raging or sex or what? I mean, it could be anything. But what is the most interesting or memorable memory that you've had at a circuit party or any other place for that matter?
Because I haven't been to a lot of circuit parties, but I do remember this. So I was going to film with Dylan Anderson, who's a gay porn star. Okay. And I was going out to Vegas. He let me stay with him. And this was the second time I was staying with him because I'd filmed with him before. And we were going to, or I brought a friend. Now this is a guy I hadn't met before, but we had been talking for a little bit, and he was like, oh, I'm kind of trying to get into the porn industry, and, you know, I'm looking to make connections. And so we went out. And that night we went to stay with Dylan. So we road tripped from Arizona over to Vegas, and we stayed with Dylan, but Dylan didn't want to go out that night. So he stayed home, and me and my friend, we went out to the bars. So if you know the Vegas gay scene, the gay bars are pretty distant from the rest of the strip, and they're off in their own like little area, like where Piranha is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We've gone to all the same ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just that little area.
That's
one of those
so
bars is
true.
open 24 hours though, which is really cool.
What is that one called?
What the frick is it called? It's the name is escaping me, but if you ask,
I have a fun story when you're done with that.
Okay.
About the gay bar in Vegas.
So we went there and we popped an Addy, and I didn't realize what time it was because it was like, I don't know, it's with everything in Vegas, like you don't always know what time it is. So it popped an Addy, get some energy, and there were these 3 big like guys that came in, tall, muscular. One I think was black, one was like Dominican, one was Puerto Rican or something, and they're flirting it up with me and my friend, and one of them's got his arms around me, and I don't know, it was really cute because the one that I was kind of like, flirting with a little bit, he was very sweet, very like, I don't know, he wasn't just being an asshole, he was nice. So fast forward, we all go back to this other guy's house, and we're all doing like G, which I had a really bad G come down that next day, but we're all like doing G, and just it breaks out into a wild orgy, and I especially at that time wasn't much of a bottom, and I'm getting dicked down by like 5 dudes with giant dicks, and it was hot, and it was very memorable, and it was just a new experience for me, because usually I'm not a bottom in a situation like that. So when you ask me like what is one of your craziest nights out, I think that's like the first memory that comes to my head.
Definitely a memorable one.
Yeah.
I want to point out something you said, because like you said that these basically strangers walked in and then they were flirting with you guys, and then they started like caressing you or whatever.
Hey, I'm straight. I mean, I'm gay.
Oh, you heard it, ladies and gentlemen.
You heard it here first.
You heard it. So different from straight world. I mean, a guy coming in and starting to touch you, you would be like, creep.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that.
Get away, like somebody
get
the bouncer.
It's just such a sexual culture,
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say I haven't
like
had people touch me that I don't want to touch me, and you do like the little,
what do you do?
Thank you. You just kind of push their hand away kind of thing. And that applies to whether you're at a sex club or just at a regular bar or like whatever.
Okay. But this is like I guess what norm. I'm trying to... Yeah, is this the norm where they just like...
I mean, basic social etiquette...
Touching each other is okay? Like
basic social etiquette still applies, but I would say like gay men are a little bit more forward physically.
Yeah,
not
definitely.
Like anything crazy. It's not like they go up and they just like start grabbing... Well, some people probably grab your crotch, but like that's not like the norm. But I would say they're physically a little bit more forward.
But definitely touchy.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's, okay, see?
At least that's my experience, so...
Not in straight world as much. It's grounds for harassment, sexual harassment. I mean, obviously, like everyone's different, and there's different clubs out there, and blah 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 blah. But I'm talking about mainstream bars, clubs for straight people. You have to play a game. It's a dance.
Yeah.
See them.
What was the story you had about the bar in Vegas?
So my story about the club in Vegas, the gay club in Vegas. So I went, I've gone to Vegas a few times, and every time I've gone with my gay friends. So I've only had the gay Vegas experience.
So fun.
And so I have yet to have a straight experience in Vegas. But anyway, this was very interesting to me because, your guard is down. You're a straight female. You're there at the club. It's gay, whatever. And these dancers are super hot. And
oh, dude, the dancers. Wait, I know you're talking about Piranha because
Piranha's
bartenders and dancers are so fucking hot.
They are.
I don't know what it is, like how they hire or like what they do. I mean,
how they cast
but
them.
How they can find these men, and a lot of them are straight. Actually,
yes, that's which leads me to my story.
Okay.
So you do the whole thing. If you're a girl and you've never been to the gay clubs, you see the dancers, and then you can go and put like a little dollar in their little, underwear or whatever. Little pouch. And so that's what I did. I was like, oh, he's cute. And so I just like did that, and that was that. And we made eye contact, but I was like, whatever, he's gay. And so I go about my day.
Wait, Gloria, we were together on this trip.
No, we weren't.
I swear to God, we were. I swear we were. No?
No.
Okay, because I remember you I know you took a bartender home in New York, but I remember you flirting with one in Vegas too, and me being like, She's pulling one of the bartenders.
No, not this one.
Okay.
No, this is a different one.
Sounds fake, but okay.
No, it's good. It's good. So then, get this. So then, I guess, so whatever. So I'm in the patio area at Piranhas, and my friend is over there sucking face with someone, so I'm just kind of like on my own. And not on my own because we had mingled with other people, so I'm kind of talking to strangers, whatever. And then this dancer, I guess his shift was over, and he comes out to the patio, and he's getting a drink from the bartender, but he keeps like staring at me, and I'm like, is he like looking at me?
Because you didn't know he was straight.
No, I assumed he was gay. I assumed everyone was gay. And so, and no, sure enough, eventually he comes over. And he just starts hitting on me hard. He was just like, you're gorgeous. He's like, where are you from? When do you leave? And I was like, are you gay? and he looked at me and he was like, what? No. And I'm like, well, you're dancing at a gay club. And he's like, no. He's like, most of these guys are actually straight. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's how they find them then. I don't know. But there's something about what they have in the water over there at Piranhas. Seriously, it's memorable. Like, I've been to nearly every... Okay, I don't want to say every gay bar in the country. I've been to a lot. Probably over like 40. And those dancers are memorable for being I can't stop staring at them when I'm there, which is, I guess, what they're hired for, so...
They're hired for eye candy.
But yeah.
And eye candy they are.
All right. Well, I think this wraps up episode number 4 of Hornier Than Thou. Once again, I am your host, Max Magnum. My co-host, Gloria Perez.
Oh my god, you guys. It's fucking midnight, and we have been having tech issues upon tech issues.
It's the worst.
It is the absolute worst. You know what Max did?
Don't tell them.
I'm going to tell them. He accidentally, but he did it. He deleted 3 fully recorded episodes, edited. Okay, and now I'm just being dramatic. They weren't edited, but the point is...
I'm sorry, YouTube.
This is the glamorous world of podcast recording.
But it's all for you guys. We love you. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.
Voila.